No, I didn't decide to gracefully retire after publishing my magnum opus on the FF7 infomercial a few weeks ago. Not to worry. So, guess what that means? That's right, it can only mean that it's a beautiful day in the neighborhood as we welcome you back to DEGREELESSNESS, the home of the most outrageous video game show on the internet, where we have the audacity to be critical of the companies asking for our money. It's insane, I know. Wackos everywhere, plague of madness, etc. Imagine holding predatory, rapacious, inhuman, wage-slaving, child-exploiting misery machines accountable for literally anything. What madman would do such a thing? Not a position that many seem to agree with, though, thanks to people having an IQ below the threshold required to avoid being brain broken by our social media worshipping culture. Fucking awesome. And nowhere was that point more vividly on display than in the comments section of our most recent video, where we once again had the audacity to refuse to lick the shit off of Square Enix's boots. Oh yes. Lots of fun was had by all as we were treated to a circus of capering idiocy and self-deprecation as people rushed to the defense of their corpo whip crackers, all hoping to be the first to set fire to the tattered remains of their self-respect and martyr it to the corporate cause. Absolutely fantastic, you love to see it. And while there of course is always something satisfying about having your worldview so violently vindicated, it's also more than a little sad. So yep, this past week has been a blast, but sadly, as much fun as it is to dwell on the misfortunes of others, we've got work to do, and as such, it's a necessary evil that we must once again get deep inside. Just time for a quick recap of the week though, where the last 2 weeks I've been busy at my stupid day job. Though it doesn't really look like we've missed anything of import. Most stories being covered seem to be the kind of broke-brained non-news that solipsistic, uninspired creators tend to conjure up whenever the industry has had a few slow weeks. Now, maybe I'm just bad at this YouTube thing, my channel numbers certainly suggest that, but I simply do not understand how people continue to be surprised by this industry. This whole week, the news cycle, if you can call it that, has been nothing but OMG guys, turns out Diablo Immortal, that game that charges you literally tens of thousands of dollars to play it, is really bad. Oh, sweet merciful heavens. Fallout 76, a horrible game made by horrible people doing horrible things. I'm so surprised. What a completely shocking turn of events. And good lord, did you hear that Activision Blizzard, one of the most nauseating bastions of vile greed and exploitation, who have been credibly accused of literally sexually violating their employees, may have lied about it? No!
I think I'm gonna have a heart attack and die from that surprise.
Why are we constantly doing Surprise Pikachu about this shit? It really is getting fucking exhausting. And also, as long as I'm ranting about nonsense, am I the only one that gets pissed off when everyone starts slurping the Steam perp when it's time for the summer sale? Like, I mean, I don't begrudge Valve running their sale. All companies do shit like that. It's whatever. I mean, I don't even begrudge people who want to spend their actual money instead of pirating their games. It's fine, you do you. But do y'all really have to do Valve's work for them and hype that shit up all over social media for weeks? Is it really necessary? You do know that they have a marketing team who gets paid to do that shit, right? Why are y'all doing it for free? Do you really love the taste of Valve's cock that much? I don't know, I just don't get shit like this. Is your identity so tied up in commodity consumption that you just have to dick ride a corporation in order to feel like you're a person with like a purpose and a reason to live? Man, that's pretty fucking sad. They're just video games, calm the fuck down. There's no need to do the company's advertising for them. They're on top of it, I promise. And lastly this week, we've got a trailer for something absolutely, utterly, completely fucking insane, a new Monkey Island game, Return to Monkey Island. This is a Monkey Island game written and produced by the original OGs Ron Gilbert and David Grossman, including music by the original composer Michael Land. Holy fucking shit, that's right. Now, if you don't know, the original Secret of Monkey Island was a point-and-click adventure game for PCs. There was even a Sega CD port, made by the legendary Lucasfilm Games during the height of the 90s adventure game era. Now, if you played PC games as a kid, Monkey Island or games like it, Space Quest, King's Quest by Sierra, probably defined and dominated much of your childhood. They definitely did mine. So, in an age where we're seeing the blasphemy our poor boy FS7 is being subjected to, it's pretty fucking awesome to see a series revival done right and with actual respect to its fans. Now, I will add the slight caveat that, like many others, I'm not really a huge fan of the art style. I probably would much rather have preferred a throwback pixel art style, the kind that they did in Tumbleweed Park. However, my desire to play a brand new, authentic Monkey Island game made by the original creators far outweighs any nitpicks I have about the art style. Big hype for this one, guys. Bring it the fuck on. Moving on, for our main story tonight, we're going to be doing a quick review of the new Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles beat-em-up by Tribute Games' Shredder's Revenge. And spoiler alert, it's fucking insanely awesome. Quick background on Tribute Games, they're the guys that made the Totally Sick Panzer Paladin, which we mentioned in our most recent Good Games episode, as well as the publishers behind Steel Assault, another fantastic retro-styled side-scroller. So, suffice it to say, these guys definitely know what they're doing. Now, when it comes to beat-em-ups in general, like any normal person, I pretty much always loved them since my first times with River City Ransom and Double Dragon 2 on the NES, all the way through the legendary classic Streets of Rage 2, and up to Turtles in Time, and of course that ridiculously awesome 4-player X-Men arcade game. It all rules.
It all rules. All that shit rules.
However, this being said, it's not meant to imply that I'm some sort of expert at them or anything. I find it helpful to disclose that kind of stuff in reviews so people have a better understanding of my perspective as a reviewer. I love beat-em-ups, I've played a fuck ton of them over the course of my life, but I'm definitely not some side-scrolling savant here. This is the perspective of your average G that just kind of likes to pick up a controller and button mash with the boys. So first, let's talk about the presentation. Geez, as some of you may know, for me, there is absolutely nothing that does it for me quite like some extra crispy, crunchy pixel art, and Shredder's Revenge is pixel art in its top form. Not only is the overall execution by the artist of the highest caliber, but perhaps even more importantly, it's authentic. It doesn't just nail the style and vibe of the original arcade classics, you know, the arcade game Turtles in Time, Manhattan Project, etc., but it even gets the entire palette right. When people see throwback games or revivals, this is the kind of attention to detail that we look for. This is just one of the many ways a developer shows respect for their audience. If you're an arrogant, detached, exploitative gaming oligarchy, you don't know stuff like this and you couldn't be fucked to find out either. But any indie dev that cares about their products definitely knows that fans will notice shit like this and plan accordingly, as Tribute Games has done to such a wonderful effect here. Every single animation, effect, storyboard, object, background, and enemy is lovingly crafted down to the fucking pixel by a team with a clear passion for it, and man does it show. There's even a goddamn world map of New York City that looks like it was lifted straight out of an arcade or Super Nintendo game. Like the world map for Super Mario World, but New York City instead. You can even pick out certain locations like Coney Island and Central Park. It's so fucking cool. And the Turtles themselves, along with Splinter, April, and Casey, are straight out of the 90s cartoons. From the overall design down to the color palette, it looks absolutely perfect. And also, as long as we're talking about perfection, holy goddamn fuck, the music, geez. Not only did the composer fucking slay the entire style of it, but it even sounds like they somehow found the exact MIDI patches and instruments used in the older games. This shit blew me away. For fuck's sake, Ghostface is on this shit. It's almost like they scraped some extra PCP from the RZA's desk back in the 90s and like sprinkled it on there. It's fucking awesome. Now, as for the enemies, all your favorites are here, from the multicolored Foot Clan robots with different weapons to the rock soldiers from Dimension X to Mousers, and even those obnoxious unicycle robots that wrap that fucking electrocuting wire around you. Now, I've seen some talking about the number of familiar faces in here as though it's a bad thing. Motherfucker, you don't play a Turtles game because you don't want to see the Foot Clan or Bebop and Rocksteady or fucking Shredder. You don't play a Star Fox game if you hate Fox McCloud or complain about all the Goombas and mushrooms in Super Mario Bros. That's the fucking game. Now, in fairness though, I do admit it would be a bit of a letdown if this was nothing but a rehash of stuff we've seen before. After all, everything that we've seen in Turtles beat-em-ups prior to this had to come from somewhere, right? Thankfully, there are plenty of new enemies to be found here, along with some fun new bosses and additional characters. Perhaps not enough for some people, and I for one certainly wouldn't say no to a playable Usagi Yojimbo DLC, but overall the mix of familiar and new seems just about right to me. Now, it's important to understand that this is a harder balance to hit than you might think. When trying to push an already legendary franchise forward, you need to be aware of a multitude of things here. History, fan sentiment, brand awareness, traditions, genre flavor, etc. As I mentioned earlier, you need to be able to show respect for the franchise and fans while also treating anything new you introduce with the appropriate amount of reverence. And much like Metroid Dread from last year, Shredder's Revenge pulls it off with flying colors. Not to worry. And next, let's get into the actual combat a bit. Holy fuck. Now, when you fire this shit up, the first thing you see is a moves list. A list that's over 20 moves long. I'm not even gonna lie, I was fucking intimidated by this shit. Seriously, it was and remains slightly overwhelming. Even right now, after having played through arcade mode and the full game twice, once on medium and then again on hard, I still doubt I've even come close to utilizing the full toolkit. You got classic moves like the shoulder charge and screen throw, plus a multitude of combo actions, various juggles, and even brand new shit like the suplex move. There's reversals, dodges, and team attacks. There's moves to recharge your special energy if you can grab a second out of combat, plus co-op specific stuff like high-fiving to give the other player a little bit of HP, and even being able to revive down teammates. There's tons of items too, from fun twists on old classics like dual pieces that heal all characters, to special recharges, and even hidden collectibles and challenges. Now, this would all be for naught though if it didn't also feel fucking right, and thank God it absolutely does. All the moves have satisfying impact physics as well as brilliant animations and telegraphing, all tied together with utterly pristine sound effects and sound programming. Even the slightly more complex stuff like high combo juggles and supers are very accessible to get the hang of. And it's not all button mashing either. There are many enemies that require you to perform specific moves in order to break their guard or damage them, and others that necessitate actual strategies to effectively deal with them, especially on harder difficulties and in later levels. Your super meter, for example, fills when you score hits and resets when you take too much damage. Until you fill the bar, then you can store it. This is a great example of very well thought out combat design, as it encourages proactive and smart playstyles without being too in your face and punishing about it. That's a hard line to walk. An arcade brawler needs to maintain the right mix of fun and difficulty while simultaneously remaining able to be played over and over. And to employ an old aphorism, basically, they need to be easy to pick up but hard and satisfying to master, and this game nails it. As if all that weren't awesome enough, you also fucking level up. Now, maybe it's just a personal thing, but I love when a game outside a traditional RPG framework lets you get XP and level up. I fucking love it. That's why personally, I'll always favor titles like Symphony of the Night and Bloodstained slightly more than Metroid games, because you can level up. Maybe it's silly, I just love how those games make it so every single enemy killed gives you a slight benefit. Not a single second spent in combat is wasted. You get slightly stronger every time you kill anything. And I'm happy to say Shredder's Revenge takes its cue from that kind of shit. It's not completely out of hand though. Every character has a max level of 8, with every few hundred enemy kills granting you a new level and a new perk. Stuff like an extra super bar, more HP, even brand new moves. Now in addition, every character, as you would expect, has its own unique playstyle and moveset. When you look at the character stats on the select screen, the numbers for speed, power, and range are not arbitrary. You can absolutely feel them when you're playing. For example, my first playthrough, I was Raph, my friend was Mikey. Since Raph has a higher power stat than Michelangelo, I got far more killing blows and as a result always had more kills. And stuff like air juggling, a feat on its own, was tough to master with many characters, but when using April, I was racking up like 100 plus hit combos like fucking crazy, due almost entirely to 1, her high speed stat, and 2, her specific aerial kick move. Super fucking fun. In conclusion, I can confidently tell you, this game is what you hope it is. A painstaking revival of a beloved beat-em-up series that plays, sounds, and looks exactly the way that you want it to. It's perfect for fans of beat-em-ups, brawlers, arcade games, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, and the 90s in general. Shredder's Revenge gets a holy fuck, it's better than Turtles in Time, 9.5. Alright, that's our show. Thank you so much for chilling, spending this little bit of your free time here with us tonight. We love you today. We love you all the way. I know to some people it may be bordering on blasphemy to score this game higher than Turtles in Time, but if you're honest with yourself, Shredder's Revenge is a better game in all quantifiable aspects. The only thing Turtles 4 has on it really is nostalgia, and while I respect how much influence that can have, nostalgia alone is not enough to make something superior. There are no doubt people out there who will still like Turtles in Time more because of that, and, you know, I fuck with that, but I gotta be real with you. Shredder's Revenge is the better game. Anyways, that's enough of that for now. Don't forget to check out the link down below in the description box if you want to support the channel on Patreon, and in the meantime, keep it tuned right here to DEGREELESSNESS for all the gaming hot takes your miserable little heart can handle.
Woke up, smoke up, blunt, then I pass out, woke up, what up, smoke up, blunt, then I'm back down, back down, what, yup, woke up, smoke up, blunt, then I pass out, woke up, what up, smoke